Welcome to another episode of Icon Presents. Joining me today is an amazing singer and songwriter here to talk to us about her newest project, Sheva Elliot, live at the Troubadour. Ladies and gentlemen, Icon Presents Sheva Elliot.
I said I wouldn't answer, 'cause you're calling much too late. I ain't the kind to be half seen or half appreciate. But here I go, trembling, your soulful, sad blue eyes. You think by now I'd get a clue, I'd grow up and get wise. You and I are hungry in a way that can't get fed. You say we'd kill each other as you pull me in the bed. Maybe hell can wait forever. Angels will laugh at God's go-getter. Hell with it, it's now or never. We're two birds, yeah baby, we're two birds of a feather. I hate how much I love your voice and the way you play guitar. You spoon feed all my demons so they never stray too far. I wasn't supposed to do the thing I said I never do, but I see you in the corner and I'm strutting up next to you. You and I are hungry in a way that can't get fed. You say we'd kill each other as you pull me in a bed. Maybe hell can wait forever. Angels will laugh at God's go-getter. Hell with it, it's now or never. We're two birds, yeah baby, we're two birds. We're two birds, yeah baby, we're two birds. Oh, we're two birds, oh, we're two birds of a feather. Ooh. Could you remember me when I forget myself? Could you lend me your time when my pride won't ask for your help? When I crumble, when my body turns to sand, could you be my rock and bring me back to land? Oh, that I'm asking, I would give to you. I'm all wrung out, I've done more than I should do. If I leave myself and I can't find the ground, baby, could you bring me back here? Be my lost and found, my lost and found. What it's like to be tired of the pain, but you don't need to hide yourself. There is no shame. We're all just children wanting a place to land. And baby, I see you, so take my hand. Oh, that you're asking, you give to me. Tonight you're all wrung out and you're floating out at sea. yourself and you can't find the ground, baby, I will bring you back here. I'll be your lost and found. Oh, night, I don't want my fear to win. Tell me, ooh, tell me, ain't too late to begin. Yeah. When my lights go dim, could you be my flame? Tell me it's never too late to start all over again. If I leave myself and I can't find the ground, baby, could you bring me back here? Could you bring me back here? Oh, could you bring me back here? Be my lost and found. My lost and found.
Welcome, Sheva Elliot. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Man, that was amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You have a very soulful voice, I must say.
Aw.
I could tell you got some inspirations out there that got kind of in that soul area that kind of really pull that warmth out. And I love it. So the project that we're talking about today is your live album that you got coming out next.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me a little bit of insight into that?
Yes. Okay. So I performed for the first time at the Troubadour in January, which, as you and most people know, is a very historic room.
Yeah.
It's been on my dream list for a while.
Okay.
And I grew up really idolizing rock stars of the 60s and 70s. I was like, oh, I wish I'd been born in the time to go to Woodstock and,
feel it.
watching live concert videos. I was like, you know what, to commemorate this really special night, why not make a live album?
Okay.
Right? And just like record the show and kind of pay homage to the days of analog when it was just
I gotcha.
sweat and rock and roll and soul,
I love it. So that project, so getting into that location, were you always thinking about, hey, I want to record the live album? Or did you record it and think, hey, I love this so much, I want the world to hear it?
I forgot who put the bug in my head. It might have been a band member.
Okay.
Who, because there's an option to record all from the board or individually or whatever. But a band member said, why don't we cut it just in case? And I was like, you know what? That would be pretty damn cool.
100%.
Live from the Troubadour? Okay.
Yeah. I love it. First off, I love live albums. First off, I always tell even my dad's band, I'm like, hey, just the rehearsals and different things like that, you capture some amazing performances sometimes where it's like, because I feel like let's say you put a song out. If you put that song out, you have that version of it, then as you perform it, that song, that it changes as time goes on. The instrumentation may change, you may find like, hey, I like this to change on the verse or whatever like that. Music, that's just the natural way that it goes. If you record that, you capture that, and you put that out, your audience is like, man, as somebody that really appreciates that, man, I eat that stuff up.
I'm so glad to hear that. And the fun thing about this album, so my debut album, which I cut a couple of years ago, I released it actually last year now, in last August, and it was called Pay the Priestess. It was super fun.
Okay.
The live performance was most of that album, plus some new unreleased stuff that's coming up on my next album.
Okay.
So it was kind of this beautiful bridge in a very historic, special place to me.
Nice.
Of like what I was doing in the past and what I'm going to be doing in the future. And we all get to experience it together in this time capsule, you know?
Awesome. Okay. So give me a little bit about your backstory. Give me a little insight into what kind of led you up to this point in music.
I always say music chose me.
Okay.
You know, I started singing when I was probably like 4 years old.
Yeah.
I asked my dad for a guitar. I don't play guitar anymore. Actually, I never really did, but I was strumming it and like writing songs in my room. I was just like, you know, already hearing melodies.
Okay.
And then I had a voice coach pretty soon around that age. I was really little. And it's just something I never really thought about. You know, it just is how my soul expresses itself.
I gotcha.
And I strayed from it. I went to film school actually.
Okay.
But during my college years, I was always at shows. I was never at movies, you know.
Okay,
and I was like hanging out in Brooklyn watching rock shows. And so I moved back to California in 2015, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it.
Got you. Just go music all the way in.
Yeah, and I haven't stopped.
That's awesome. So do you ever find that you're like, you know, especially when it comes to social media and all that kind of stuff, sometimes it's a little beneficial to have that video footage out there. Do you pull out any of your videography skills to help you in your music?
Yeah. So what I focused on was screenwriting and directing, and I have a background in acting too.
Oh, nice.
So it is really nice to exercise that muscle. And I, you know, write and direct and produce and star in my music videos. And it's nice to have the language to communicate with the DPs. I feel very lucky to have like that well-rounded knowledge.
Okay, got you. So tell me, what was that jumping off point for you that kind of, from music, where you started to kind of get a little bit more notoriety, get pushed out there a little bit? What would you say that first project that you feel like, hey, I'm making it now?
Making it. That's
true.
subjective. I guess to answer your question, when I really felt like I was doing it, there's been many moments throughout my budding career.
Okay.
I think recording that first album felt very real.
Okay,
you know,
what's the name of that first album?
Pay the Priestess.
Pay the Priestess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I flew out to Texas. I recorded at Sonic Ranch.
Okay.
You know, it was very legit. And I stopped, you know, when I first started booking shows, I really had to go out of my way to book them. And now I feel blessed where I've built a community where people will reach out to me. And, you know, it feels like it's just like a small accomplishment in a long line of them just to be recognized and wanting, you know, when people invite you to the stage, it's like a beautiful way of saying we appreciate your work.
Right, exactly.
You know,
rather than having it, you know, the pay to play type of thing.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to like, let me get in there.
Yeah.
But you actually get the opportunity to say, hey, you know, I saw you and I want you on that show.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so tell me, so you performed 2 songs for us, right?
Yeah.
Got you. Now you said the first one was called Lost and Found?
Uh-huh.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that process that you went through, because that's on the new project.
Lost and Found is on the first record.
It's on the first record, okay.
The second one I sang, Birds of a Feather.
Got you. That's on the new project.
Exclusive.
Okay, let's go.
Because that's, you know.
Hey, y'all heard it here first.
It's true. Y'all did.
Okay.
So Lost and Found, I wrote that many years ago. I was going through a tough time in my life, and it wasn't a love song, a romantic love song. It was a love letter to the people in my life, my friends, my community, who supported me in a difficult situation and loved me back to life, basically, you know?
Okay.
And that's the message of the song. Like, we have to help each other and be here for each other, right?
Okay.
It's like, if I feel lost, you'll find me, and vice versa. If you're lost, I'll find you. I'll help you find you.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you're going through your creative process of songwriting and, you know, putting the whole composition together, are you doing that with your entire band, or you kind of, does it happen as a more intimate setting at home and then you take it to them?
Yeah. I arrange everything at home pretty much.
Okay.
I compose on the piano. And then, you know, I'll write like the bass lines and I'll hear the guitar part, and then we get into the room together and we all just kind of, you know, let it blossom. But
I got you.
I always come with a blueprint.
Have you been working with the same band for a minute?
I wish.
Oh yeah.
In LA, it's musical chairs, but I do have some solid band members that I use almost every time.
Gotcha.
Which I feel really lucky to have. But yeah, it changes. It changes.
Okay, got you. So it's mainly just like you have you that's going to stay there, and then basically sometimes a different drummer or something like that that may swing out in the middle. Okay, I get you. But it does allow for a different variety. Do you ever find that that's an issue when it comes to like, because every player is going to have a different style?
Yeah, I would say the players who I gravitate towards and who gravitate towards me have an understanding of like my old school approach in a way, and like, gotta have soul, But yeah, I think when I was younger and first starting out with this, I think I was a lot more controlling about the band and the sound and this and that. And now it's like, you know what? There's so many talented people in LA. Why not invite some different colors of
might as well
of approaches? You know what I mean? I
feel it. Okay, so can you take me through, like, you've been on this musical journey for some time now. Every artist has their high points, their low points, and this whole thing is hills and valleys as it goes. Give me one of them high standout points where you look back, you're like, man, it was struggle, but then like I made it here, and I feel like we are doing great.
Well, I'd say like singing at the Troubadour was freaking awesome. I'm trying not to curse. It was freaking awesome. Yeah. It was great, and honestly, I try to not look at things. Yes, it's peaks and valleys, but ultimately, I really think it's about your attitude, because this is a grind, and I try to shift my perspective. It's like, you know what? It's like chasing the goal to the end of the rainbow. And it wouldn't be as rewarding of a journey if it was just handed to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was a Nepo baby, I'd be so happy about that. I would be like, yeah, my dad is this record executive.
Exactly.
Give me everything. I wouldn't be mad about it, but
we can't all have that life.
You can't all have that life. I had a residency recently in May, and that was fun, and that felt like a nice accomplishment.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's so many variables in this career, and it's like the Wild West. There's just no path.
I got you.
So I think my attitude is really what I need to focus on the most.
I got you. So if you have that, like the Troubadour, like, yes, you are correct. That is an accomplishment right there. You're not going to look back at that and think like, oh, that was it. You're going to look at that with fondness for years and feel like, yes. And I'm glad you kind of made it so that we can all kind of appreciate that with you, with that new project. Because that's the one thing. Your audience, like, that, wasn't out there can really get kind of in tune with that, especially if you're excited about that. I know that's going to come across in the music itself. Yeah. You can always feel what people appreciate, and they have that passion behind something. It always resonates deeper with the audience. Now, you told me the high point. I always ask the contrary. Give me that low point where you were going through and you were like, you know what? Things are a bit tough right now, strictly when it comes to your music, because life goes through all kinds of hills and valleys. But in music,
I would say, honestly, the lowest point was my mentality before I really attempted music.
Yeah.
It was this negative belief that my heart would always be longing for it. And I just, for some reason, would never figure it out. I wouldn't know how to put a band together. I could never record a record. I could never book shows. Like it's crazy to think about now. And I'm so grateful. But yeah, like that was a low point when I had like this defeatist mindset about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That takes it takes a lot of work to get past that point. Because that goes with anything. Yeah. Anytime you're trying anything new and all that, it's like, no matter what, it's going to be tough the first steps on that are consistent. Like I have a 4-year-old daughter, right? I'm teaching her how to ride a bike right now.
Oh.
She will get on the bike and she'll pedal for a little bit, but then her legs start to slip off and all that kind of stuff. We're like, nah, keep going to do that. And then sometimes she doesn't figure out exactly how the pedals go. She's like, it's not going, whatever. I look at that and I look like, once this same thing that she's trying to get over right now, that's going to be her for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Life is going to be full with that. No matter how much momentum you're going on or whatever like that, you're going to slip off every now and then. You're going to have to kind of lose footing every now and then. But long as you stay on and keep going and be persistent and committed to it, then that's where you can kind of see where that actual destination is going to lead you to. But you got to stay committed to it. And I love to see artists that are, inspiring others to stay committed to it. So with that being said, what advice would you give any up and coming artists that are kind of maybe struggling or thought if I brought somebody in, they're kind of wavering on whether or not they want to continue in their musical journey or any creative field? What advice would you give them?
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. I would say there's no such thing really as mistakes. It's really all just a learning experience.
Right.
And something that always motivates me is the pain of not going for what I dream of outweighs the pain of just trying it.
Right.
I'd rather try it and know than never try it and always wonder.
100%. I had Adrian Ewings on the show, and he was like, the most valuable land is the graveyard. And it's like, it's the cemetery. It's like, why? Because that's where it's full of dead ideas and dreams and passions and different things like that, people took with them on things that they, shows that were never created, movies that were never made, podcasts that were never came to fruition, all these various things. And it's like, hey, don't live your life while you have the breath in your lungs, and do it.
Yes.
Go for it.
Yes.
Give it a shot, because you never know.
Yeah.
Because certain things may change your life in a radical way. So it's awesome. So in the spirit of inspiration and all that, give me some of those musical inspirations that kind of shaped your sound that you have now.
Gosh. I always think of a few. I love Aretha Franklin.
Of course.
I mean, she's a channel of a higher power. Janis Joplin.
Okay.
And then, all the classics. Like I'm a big 70s rock head.
Okay.
And 60s psychedelia. I love soul music. I mean, it's so hard to answer that question. I go from like Led Zeppelin to Otis Redding to Linda Ronstadt to the Eagles. I also love world music and classical music.
Okay.
I love outlaw country. I love, I don't know. It's so hard to answer that.
I got you. So you're kind of everywhere.
Yeah, I would, but to really just like hone in on the answer, my major idols were like 60s, 70s rock stars, like The Doors, Janis, Elton John, David Bowie. These like very fearless artists who have their heart right outside of themselves, know?
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to tell you, it comes across, definitely. You can definitely say it's like anytime I have an artist in here, it's like you can always hear a little, a tinge of those inspirations and those based off of, some certain people's breathing styles and all that kind of stuff. I have an episode that we'll be releasing shortly, and it was with a guy, Angel Renee. He's a big John Legend fan. And you could hear just every time he hit a certain note, he'd hit it like John Legend. And it's like, all right, cool. Then I had Blythe Vermillion. And you can tell all the different inspirations based off of the artist. Like for me, I'm going to tell you so when it comes to singing, I am kind of like, I'm a John Legend fan. Like when it comes to like modern stuff, the John Legends, the, what's it called? Bruno Mars and all that kind of stuff. I like because they have a specific style. But then if I, predated a little bit, I'm into the, I would say more so the Stevie Wonders and all that kind of stuff. But then when it comes to musicianship, and the bands that play, I know my dad was always listening to Bootsy Collins and all of them and just playing like that. Is like he'll pull that out and be like, man, I love it. I love the fact that like music carries on. And it's just like, and it shapes generations and generations. Yeah. Now, if you were, I got to ask you this question. If you were able to have anybody, do a collaboration with, starting with a singer, who would that be? Do you have like a dream? Like,
right now, Chris Stapleton.
Okay. I like it.
I love that he is able to beautifully blend soul and rock and a little bit of twang.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel it. Have you ever written one of your songs and thought like, oh man, I wish he can jump on this one with me?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. You're like, I got it. If it ever happens, then we already got this set.
Maybe, but I'm going to go home and do that though, for sure.
I got you. Right? Okay, got you. Now, I don't know, do you pay attention to the different sounds of producers when you're working with them?
I do. I also do produce myself.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I'm learning a lot about what to look for in other producers.
Do you have anybody that you look at and you're like, man, if I can make my stuff sound like this?
I love Dave Cobb's work. I mean, he works a lot with Chris. Yeah. I like Jay Joyce. He's working with Lainey Wilson right now.
Okay.
I like that they honor the singer and there's a warmth and like a power to the way they produce it. Yeah. It just feels very present and whole. And yeah, of course, like, producers who probably aren't working anymore from back in old school days.
Right.
Like I was producing Donny Hathaway. Goddamn.
I feel it. Like, nah, so I listen to a podcast all the time. It's called the Audio Nerds Podcast. And they'll have various producers that come on. And it's wild to me. They had the guy that did one of Cher's albums.
Oh, I love Cher.
And he tells the story. They went out to a game and he was like, he's a hip hop producer and he was like, but he's done other stuff as well. But he was like, why did you want me? And she says, because you did, what's that song by Outkast? So Fresh and Clean by Outkast.
Yeah.
And she loved the way that sounded. So she had him come do her stuff.
That's funny.
I was like, first off, you have to get the fact that Cher's sitting there listening to Fresh and Clean by Outkast.
Obsessed.
And then you're at the point where you're like, okay, cool. Respect it.
She's a woman who knows what she wants.
Exactly. So tell me, what do you think are like your big goals for like you got this project coming out. What are we looking at in the future for you?
So I premiered Birds of a Feather today on your podcast, a stripped down acoustic version. But I'm really excited. That's one of my new singles.
Okay.
So give me a follow. So
let's go.
You know when it's going to drop. Yeah, looking ahead, I think this Troubadour album is nice because it's like a nice holdover while I'm going back in the cave and like recording some new stuff.
Right.
But yeah, what to look forward to is I have some shows coming up. I'm playing in LA. I'm playing in Bakersfield. I'll be going to Nashville in September. And then I'm going to be releasing new tracks in 2025. I'm really excited.
Nice. What would you say, like, as you're looking forward, do you think are any, I guess I'll say challenges that you can see coming or that you see like that you deal with now in the industry?
I mean, honey, do you really want me to go there? Makes me existentially sad. I mean, yeah, dude, like the fact that artists are, try not to curse, robbed. Yeah. Literally robbed by these giant companies that don't compensate us and that we're made to feel that our worth is inherent in an algorithm or a number of followers as opposed to the art we're making. There's a lot of catch-22s and I guess things weren't perfect back in the old days, of course, but I think there's an element of like really searching for a jewel and being willing to develop a jewel. Yeah. And today they want you to come prepackaged, and it's just, I think again, it's all about mindset. Like if you can't beat them, join them. Like I'll do the best I can to join the game of today, but there's always going to be part of me that's like, I'm just going to make honest art. I got you. And the right people will.
Do you think the issues that come with artist discoverability and the way that large labels and different ones kind of, for the lack of a better word, abuse artists and creatives, do you think that comes from an accessibility point? The reason why I say that is because I'm like, okay, these days you have, artists and singers and all that stuff. Obviously, we can put out our own projects. You have artists, you have creators and musicians that can put out a project from a laptop. You get yourself a laptop and you can go to YouTube University and you can do pretty much everything. for it. So in a sense, it's like, okay, what is the label going to be essentially getting from you? Like, what's the actual benefit and all that? And there are certain resources that they definitely do give you. But sometimes I think if things weren't so accessible, then things wouldn't be made so cheaply. I'll put it that way.
So you're saying because of the accessibility, labels feel they need to exploit artists because they're not going to be making what they used to make.
Basically.
Yeah, I think just the whole system is kind of broken.
Yeah.
And I think just like actors and screenwriters and editors and everyone in the they have unions. It blows my mind that that doesn't really exist in the world of music.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know people have tried, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there needs to be a unionization of artists because it's just not right, man.
Right.
And even artists like who are touring, even artists that have like made it, I know they still struggle financially.
Oh, 100%. I've been exploring this idea and I'm not going to say it on here or give any too much details while the camera's running because it goes into somebody's business model and all that. But there's a lot of ways. I think there's a knowledge gap when it comes to artists and ways to do it. I think that too many artists rely on getting that check from Spotify or whatever like that to really, financially support themselves.
I mean, and you can't support yourself with
exactly.
that.
It's like, do you know how many streams it takes to make $4 on Spotify?
That's ridiculous.
It takes 1,000 streams. It takes 1,000 streams to make that. And I'm like, yo, think about the days where people were going to pick up your music and, get that physical version of that. It's like, yo, you were getting a lot more for that money. So it becomes a matter of like, okay, are we actually putting our focuses in areas that we actually do that are actually beneficial for everybody?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's something that in the music industry and as a musician yourself, I'm like, man, and myself, I'm like, man, there has to be a different way of going about it.
I think honestly, there has to be on a federal level, a different way. Like, I'm serious. It's so infuriating. And also, what would the world be without art?
Right, exactly.
Like, where would we be without music and film and novels? I mean, where would we be?
Exactly.
And it just really makes me sad that artists are taken for granted and the world would be a silent, sad place without us. Really?
100%.
So like, pay us.
Yes.
So 100%. We could keep doing it and not have to, it's just like, everyone else gets paid in the capitalist structure. Why don't we?
Exactly, right? Everybody's enjoying your product for free.
Yes.
And it's like, yo, that's wild.
But I also understand like the spiritual element of like, well, art comes from the muse. It's meant to be given. And how can you put a dollar amount on something mystical, right?
Yeah.
But, we live in America, man. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, if that's the case, then artists should just be able to live rent-free. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? You want to do that? Then we're just going to be like, hey, you made art. We're not going to pay you for anything. Yeah. We're going to take care of all of your expenses and life things. And that's what we'll do. I don't like that idea. Don't take that. I don't actually like that. It's very socialistic and I don't appreciate that idea. I know. But I understand the mentality.
This has become a socio-political podcast.
Exactly, the way things go. Okay, so I have a question for you. So you got started in music very early. Was your family musical?
Yeah, my grandma's musical.
Okay.
And my mother's father, I didn't meet him. He passed before I was born, but I think he played in the band in like the Korean War or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was like, yeah.
Which side? I'm messing.
But my paternal grandmother is where I think I get my singing, and she plays piano by ear too. And I write by ear. And so I think it's from her.
So you got your newest project, Sheva Elliot, live at the Troubadour.
That's right.
And that's coming out. Well, by this time, when this episode airs, it'll actually be out.
It'll be out. It's coming out August 23rd, a week from
23rd.
Today.
Okay, nice. Well, I'm super excited to check it out.
Thank you.
What can we expect in the? I know you said you got your latest album. This is a holdover album or whatever like that on there. From this album, when we listen to it, is there a message that you think you have for the fans?
Oh man. Fans and fellow artists, do it, whatever it is for you. Let it be imperfect. have a good time.
I feel it.
For a long time. And still even I get caught up in perfectionism and not letting myself have fun. And I think part of releasing a live album was like, this is what it was like in that moment, and it's precious. And part of the magic of live music is that it will never be the same again.
Exactly.
You can never do it more than once that way.
I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me on today's show.
Thank you for having me.
How can the people support you?
It would be great if you guys could follow me on Instagram. Sign petitions. No, I'm kidding.
What is the
Take
Instagram?
down the industry. No, my Instagram. Cut that out. We're gonna march.
We march on Wall Street.
Yeah. We ride at dawn.
Yes.
My Instagram is at Sheva.Elliot. It's Sheva.Elliot.
All right.
Subscribe to my email list. You can do that through my website.
Okay.
Any way you can get connected. Follow me on YouTube, Spotify, all those places.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It was such an honor. It's so much fun having you on the show.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me on another episode of the Icon Presents podcast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out Shiva's newest project, Sheva Elliot, live at the Troubadour. Be sure to go to iconpresentspodcast.com for exclusive blog posts, interviews, updates, and all of that, even linking to her project. So if you can't find it, it'll be there. And be sure to let us know if there's anybody that wants to join the show and wants to showcase their projects, any creatives out there. Feel free to reach out. You can DM me or just go to iconpresentspodcast.com and message me right through there. I love to chat with you. Again, I say thank you so much. We thank you for your support. Y'all take it easy.